what's up, everybody? So this is my first podcast. I've never done this before, and I don't know how this is gonna turn out when I'm done, but I hope you guys enjoy this, and I don't know. We'll see how this goes. I don't know. Okay, so what got me started doing this, what got me the idea of, okay, I'm going to make my own podcast? Well, I started watching comedians and stuff, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say any names. Okay, so I'll say Jeff Dunham, Gabriel Iglesias, all those, comedians. I always wanted to maybe get somewhere in life by trying to, become famous in some way. I started watching Jeff Dunham for quite a while, and it got me, he inspired me to start ventriloquism. So on Christmas of 2020, I got the Jeff Dunham doll or dummy for Christmas, and I was so excited. I didn't think I was gonna get him, and I started. Well, before I got the Jeff Dunham dummy, I started practicing ventriloquism way before that, like a couple months before December, Christmas. I used my hand and a sock. Okay, so I had a sock in one hand, and I just used my other hand. They were both having conversation. But then I got in front of a mirror, and I just started so I could see if I was doing it right. Now I started practicing by using Jeff Dunham's how to be a ventriloquist video. I found him on YouTube. But when I got the dummy for Christmas, it wasn't just the dummy, it was his video or DVD about, how to be a ventriloquist, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, okay, so I started practicing a couple months before Christmas, as I said. And I was doing okay. My lips were moving, my mouth was moving. It's not what you're supposed to do, but I started practicing before I got the dummy, and then when I got the dummy, I then started using the dummy to practice, and I got better and better and better, and then I started going live on a Facebook group, and I started doing the ventriloquism on there, and people were actually impressed. They have never seen a ventriloquist on the group. It was actually a karaoke group, but I used the dummy. I thought I'd just show off, my skills. But what I did was I made the dummy sing. I made it sound like the dummy was singing. Since it was a karaoke group, so I started making the dummy sing. I tried to crack jokes. I'm not that funny. Because I'd had a boring life, my whole life. All right, this is where we're gonna get into my life. So my whole life, I'm a homebody. Okay, I don't go out a lot. I don't do anything. When I was younger, I would just stay at home, playing video games, watching TV, snacking. That's how I got fat. I was a skinny little boy when I was 4 years old, and as I was growing up, I became, pudgy, because I kept eating and snacking, and while laying down, watching TV, not getting anywhere, not going anywhere. A couple times I would go outside when I was a little bit older, maybe 7 years old, and I would, I had a scooter. I'd go out and ride the scooter around. I had a buddy that I'd ride scooters with, but then when I got in my teenage years, that's when I started, just staying at home, not going anywhere, just watching TV, playing video games, snacking. And then I started getting out of control with my weight. But now I'm getting a little bit older, and I started driving, getting my license. I worked on that, and then I got out of the house a little more now that I could drive. Because when you're in your teenage years, like 13 through maybe 16, 17, you would have always asked your parents, can they take you to go see your friend or to the mall, to the movies? And they're like, Dad, can you take me to go see my buddy? And he was like, again, son, really? This is like the third time this week. I'm like, well, you said you'd do it. And by the way, can I borrow $20? I'm like, really? Back then, $20 when your parents would give you $20 for like the mall, you would think you're like, oh man, I'm rich, I got $20. But now, when you're older, $20 is nothing. You got a job. You get a job, and now you get all this money. I'm like, okay, now I got money. $20 was nothing when you went to the mall. That's like a shirt or pants, something to buy clothes, or you go see a movie. Excuse me, I had to drink of water real quick. But yeah, it's crazy. And by the way, I know I'm like switching subjects here. Expect that a lot, because I can go from one subject to another subject, but that's just how I am. So, but I'm doing that because I'm talking about how I am now versus how I was when I was younger. So, I started building my courage with the ventriloquist because, of course, I was nervous, Now, for every ventriloquist, for every ventriloquist, you could be scared because, you're playing with dolls. I don't know how people are going to think about that, because they'll think you're like, hey, look at that guy, he's playing with dolls. Oh, he's such a nerd and this and that. But you got to think, what you're doing or learning to do can get you somewhere in the future. Like, you could practice, do all this now, and then people find out about you, and it's like, oh, well, look at me now, dummy. You were laughing? Well, now look at me. I'm on TV, America's Got Talent, American Idol. I say American Idol because, I don't know, maybe they could take me in. I could just make the dummy sing. I don't know. But, when I was younger, like I said, I started off, being a homebody, and I still kind of am, because I don't have many friends. So I just I stay home. I eat, sleep, work, and repeat. So, because in 2017 I got a job at Burger King. And, I was still in school, and a couple times I would, so I'd work the night shift, and then sometimes I wouldn't even go to school. I would stay home, or no, I wouldn't stay home. Well, yeah, I stayed home because I would wake up late and I'd miss the bus. And then it was like, well, I'm not walking to school because it was a far distance. I'm not going to walk to school. It's like an hour or something walk. And my parents had been gone to work already, so it's like, well, there goes my school day. I would feel bad though, because I missed school. Now, I still got to graduate school. I'm not the brightest crayon in the box, because I'll be honest, I was pretty dumb, and still am, because I do dumb things. And my worst subject in school is history, because I don't know how anybody can remember. Like, yeah, okay, the teacher's telling you what happened way back then, but I don't understand how somebody can remember. Like, okay, George Washington did this, okay? For me, it's hard to remember that. Like, okay, Abraham Lincoln did this. Okay, George Washington did that. Hey, this happened in Columbia or Columbus. You know, I don't know. I don't know that much about history. Okay, I don't. Okay, math was my favorite subject. You know, it's numbers, shapes. I mean, some part of it was hard, but you know, they say you're gonna need math when you're older. And then the kids are like, no, we're not going to need math. And then, you know, you get a job somewhere and you know, you got to know how to add this and subtract that, divide, multiply. And then it's like, oh, guess I was wrong. You do need math. Mrs. Steinway was right. It's just a random name. Now, reading, language arts, oh my gosh. I hate reading. I mean, I'm sorry. I know reading's important, but I hate reading. You know, I could just be reading a book and I'll fall asleep. And you'll need to... Learning to read is important too, because, you know, same thing. You'll need to learn how to read when you're older, get a job, you know. But, I liked a couple books. Like, mainly my favorite books when I was younger... I don't know if any of you heard of it. Captain Underpants or A Diary of a Wimpy Kid, or the old like SpongeBob comic books or whatever they had back then. Those were my favorite books to read because you know they were kid books. And also when I was... So now let me talk about this. So when I was younger, I was about maybe 5 years old, and I started learning how to play video games. So the first game system I started playing was the PlayStation 2. Okay, but so I went to PlayStation 2, and then I started playing the PlayStation 1. Okay, usually it's the other way around, but no, I played PlayStation 2 first, and I played PlayStation 1. My favorite game to play on the PlayStation 1 was Spyro. Was it Spyro? Yeah, it was Spyro, okay? The dragon, which they now remastered for PlayStation 4. And I still played it. You know, it was $40. You know, it was worth it because, you know, it was my childhood game. Now, for PlayStation 2, I swear, the only games I played on the PlayStation 2, it was either SpongeBob or all the Nicktoon games, you know, and Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Now, I'm older. Now the only games I play are the Grand Theft Auto games. They're just fun. And my favorite one is Grand Theft Auto 4. And I'll tell you why. Because I think it has a great plot to it. You know, it starts off with Nico Bellic. And, you know, he comes to America from wherever he came from. And then he started a new life. But it had a great plot to it because, like, he meets all these people and his cousin was there. And the ending of the game, like, you had two choices. The ending, you have two choices. I thought it was pretty cool. But, it's just how the ending goes for it that I thought was cool. But I like Grand Theft Auto 4. Now Grand Theft Auto 5, I beat it many times. It'll take me about a week or two to beat Grand Theft Auto 5. Because, you know, the missions are long and you gotta do this and that. And then there's Grand Theft Auto Online that goes with Grand Theft Auto 5. So yeah, that's what. But anyways, so did that. I talked about. Okay, so now back to the ventriloquism. I've been doing ventriloquism for, like I said, I started in late 2019, okay? Was it 2019? No, I'm sorry. I started in late 2020. A couple months before Christmas time. Like I said, I used my hand and freaking sock. And then I got the Jeff Dunham dummy, Little Jeff. Okay. Now, I don't use Little Jeff when I go and perform with the dummy. I changed his name to Vinny. Well, first I said I used Little Vinny, okay, but I didn't want to use Little Vinny because that's still, like Little Jeff. I don't want to copyright or whatever. So I just used Vinny. And I used Vinny because I am part Italian, okay, even though I can speak no words of it. Like, well, slightly. I can speak slightly Italian, but so I call him Vinny. And, I do like what ventriloquists do. He makes fun of me, and, I don't have any snappy comebacks, and then I make him sing, People like it when I have him sing. And then a couple months later, I thought, I can't just always use Vinny, It's time to get something new. So then I went on Amazon, and they had, like, the little hand dummies, like the hand puppet dummies. Or you use your hand, so it's like a hand puppet, basically. And I was looking, and first I thought, maybe I should get a girl dummy. But then I would have to use a girl voice, and my voice is so deep, I can't even be that high-pitched anymore. So I looked, and I saw this, one dummy. His original name is Jose. And I'm not trying to be racist or racial. I'm not that good at I don't know how I should say it, Mexican accent. I'm trying not to be racial, like I said. But I'm not good at a Mexican accent. And, I try, but I rarely use Jose. Like, sometimes I'll use Jose and Vinny, and I'm right-handed, so it's kind of hard. So I'll use my right hand to control Vinny, and I'll use my left hand to control Jose. And it's kind of hard at times, but sometimes no. But I'm trying to get used to, like, all three of us talking. Because, there's me, and then there's Vinny, and then there's Jose. And then it's like, okay, well, the trick is you got to talk fast and loud. And then you got to talk fast. And then you got to, all three of us have to talk and say something. That's it's kind of hard. But I've been practicing, But I haven't been doing ventriloquism lately. Because sometimes I just lose my motivation, like, you're so motivated, like, okay, yeah, I'm going to get somewhere with this and that, And then sometimes I'm like, nah, I'm not going to get anywhere with ventriloquism. What am I thinking, But then I try to stay positive. And I'm like, okay, I got to get in my mind, I can do this. I just got to keep trying, go for it, Look at Jeff Dunham. And there's many other, I did some research, there's many other ventriloquists out there from a long time ago. There's one guy named Paul, I don't remember his last name. His name was Paul. He went on America's Got Talent. Oh, and Darcy Lynn, Darcy Lynn, she's young. She's I don't know how, I think she's 17, 16, 15. I'm subscribed to her on Snapchat. I don't know if that's a bad thing. I can't talk to her, I'm just subscribed. I can see her post, but she's a ventriloquist now. So, but she mainly has her dummy sing. Okay, she's mainly a singer, not a talk about funny stuff, haha, like Jeff Dunham does. But I try to do both, So, but I guess I thought, and then, like I said, this is my first podcast, and I thought about maybe, if I started a podcast, maybe people will hear me, and then they'll know about me, and then they'll know what I'm trying to do, and where I'm trying to be, and I'm just trying to make my future better. So I hope this does good. I mean, it might be a while before I do another episode on here, because I'd have to think of something to talk about. Like, this podcast was just mainly about me, my life, my future, or how I want my future to be, and how my past was. But I'll try to think of some other stuff to talk about later in the future, and then I'll come on here again. But hope you guys enjoyed this first podcast. I will try to be back on here soon, but I hope everybody does good with their future, because you never know what could happen. And I've learned you don't need to go to college to do good in the future. But unless you want to do something specific, like be a doctor or whatever. But you don't need a college degree. You can go to work and make a living. There's a lot of options out there. But I try every day. So, but that's the end of this. So I hope everybody has a good day or night wherever you are, and hope you enjoyed this. So I'll be back on sometime in the future.